Last question. How many of you have been known as like one of the most clumsy people somebody might know?
Nope.
If you're still standing, I completely relate to you guys. You guys can sit down. Alright, so many of you know I'm in gymnastics. If you don't, there you go. But last year wasn't really the ideal year for our team because we didn't really get to travel, which is fine. But I experienced an injury last year that kept me out of gymnastics during the most important part. We got asked to perform for a, I think it was it halftime? I don't know. We got asked to perform for the school, and so we got ready. We were having a 4-hour practice. This is normal, trust me. But in 2 hours into that practice, Bogus asked us to get a partner and start doing a doubles move. If you don't know what that is, it's just usually girl and guy, sometimes guy and guy, sometimes girl and girl. And you just do a move together, and yeah, it's sometimes more simple than the other ones. I ended up doing this with one person, and we were doing fine at first, and then it wasn't fine. I ended up hyperextending my knees doing something, and I thought I would be fine, but apparently my screen didn't say that. So I ended up missing the performance, 2 performances actually. That was pretty bad, and that was horrible because it was the only performances we had that year. But later on, I was out of gymnastics, we didn't really have much to do, and I was kind of just on crutches for a very long time, and if you don't know, crutches are the worst. And it ended up with me not really being able to do as much stuff. A lot of my friends, they would go do their sports and all that, and I would just have to kind of sit out. Junior trip came, and this is where things happened, and I was like, oh, okay, something came out of this. Joey Sogliano, him and I were both hurt at the same time. This was way worse, but me and him were both on the trip together, and we were both stuck in a wheelchair, mainly everywhere. But that was being in a wheelchair and having different people that usually I don't really talk to that much. I got to know, and I've got to know many people in my class just because of this one injury. I didn't think that would happen, but it did. So a lot of things did happen, and I did get better. Obviously, I'm standing here. But a lot of the time I would think, oh my gosh, this is the worst thing ever. I was stuck in a wheelchair, it was the worst thing ever. I was in crutches, it hurt horrible. But now that I think about it, it was way better than I was expecting, because I got friendships that I didn't expect to get out of that. I got experiences that I never got beforehand. So I have a verse, and it's Romans 8:28. And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. Just know that even if something bad happens to you, there's always something good that comes out of it. Please pray with me. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this wonderful day. Thank you that we get to be here and get to experience life at GCA. Please be with anyone that might be going through a really hard time. Just be with them and help them know that there's going to be good coming out of it. Amen.
All right. Thank you for joining us, Irvin. All right, our Boys Club has an announcement. Oh, yeah, great. Seth, chapel started 7 minutes ago. All right, no, Boys Club has an announcement. No one, come on down. All right, hey guys, this is an announcement for all of you village guys out there. So, we're gonna have Ramen Olympics soon. If you guys don't know what that is, you get to take a pack of ramen, or really any sort of noodle-ish ramen thing, and you get to make whatever you want out of it, take it to the dorm, or cook it there, and and then a bunch of judges will judge you on it, and say if yours is the best, then you get money. So, that is yet to be determined, but I know it will be a lot. somewhere between like $50 to $100. Maybe. So I would say go ahead and make some ramen. No. So I would say go ahead and make some ramen. Bring it to the dorm, guys. That's all of you guys. That's all of you guys. Village or dorm. Make some ramen, and maybe this weekend or next weekend you will be able to get some money for cooking well. Let's go with next Sunday. Not this Sunday, next Sunday. All right, boys, I've seen some pretty creative ramen things over the last few years where you can doctor it up however you want, and yeah, very interesting. So if you want $100, we'll just go ahead and say $100. Yeah, $100, 1,000. Don't put words in my mouth. Just kidding, I can't speak for Boys Club. Okay, listen up. A couple of announcements and we're going to be done quick today. This Friday night, tomorrow night, Vespers is going to be casual because it is Campfire Vespers. If you don't know what that is, it's a Vespers where there's campfires, and you're going to be divided up into groups, and you're going to meet in various locations around campus, around a campfire. There's going to be s'mores and hanging out and good times. And so, if your dorm, it would be really helpful if you could turn in a leave request. You probably have already done it, but if you haven't, please let the deans know what your plans are this weekend so that we can start making those groups. We can't do that until we know who's going to be here and who's going to be gone for the weekend. So please let the deans know as soon as possible. Those groups will not be posted until around lunchtime tomorrow, because once we get all the information, then we make the groups and we'll post them and we'll email them to you. If you're village and you want to be a part of this, please sign up right outside my office. There's a village sign-up sheet. If you'd like to come and be a part of one of the campfire groups that are meeting around campus for Vespers, please come and sign up. So there's no regular Vespers. We're all meeting around campus, around campfires. And the weather, hopefully, it's looking good. So hopefully it'll stay looking good. It'll be a nice way to bring in the Sabbath. So, campfire Vespers. Mr. Garrity wanted me to remind you that mission trip is already filling up. The Dominican Republic mission trip is already filling up, but if you would like to be a part of that, there is no sign-up sheet. You sign up by submitting your deposit. Does anyone know what that deposit is? $375. $375. So if you want to sign up for that trip, you need to have either yourself or have your parents pay the business office $375 to reserve your spot on that trip. So please, if you're interested, please do it immediately. And finally, or maybe our last announcement. Okay, I have one more announcement. If you're going on the backpacking trip this weekend, it's going to be a beautiful weekend. We're going up to Buzzard Point. There's going to be, river, and we're going to have to go over to a lookout point and camp on kind of this lookout area. It's going to be awesome. So I'm excited about this weekend, but we need to meet today during lunch. I know it's short notice, but if you're going on the trip this weekend, please meet me in classroom 12, and I want to just get an idea of everybody and their gear and what you might need and what we need to ask around and borrow. So please come by. You don't have to stay for long, but at least come by for a few minutes. I'll be eating my lunch in classroom 12. You can bring your lunch if you would like. Otherwise, just pop in for a few minutes so we can talk and chat and get ready for this trip. All right, Dr. G. A couple of real quick things. First of all, we're in masks, as you know, this week. We will go out of masks for the first part of next week, assuming that we stay well and healthy, which we have. Hallelujah. People have gotten some weird illnesses, but thank you for your creativity.
But as far as COVID is concerned, we don't know of anybody having it. Doesn't mean that some of you don't. But we don't have anybody with symptoms, and nobody has tested positive, and that is great news. That's a big plus for us. The numbers locally are going down, and the numbers nationally are going down, and so those are all great things. And there's lots, of course, you can debate and argue about why the numbers are going down, but nevertheless, it's generally a good process, and things are headed in the right direction. But we, at the same time, want to continue to do whatever it is these things do to help us keep from transmitting stuff to each other. So we go for several days after a home leave because you all are off doing a lot of things with a lot of different people, and then we all get back on campus and we bring all that stuff back with us, and then we breathe on each other and make each other sick. So far that hasn't happened. That's good. So we'll go through this week. The first part of next week, masks will be optional. Next Friday, though, is Academy Days. Now, some of you have never been through an Academy Days here because of COVID. We did it in unconventional ways, but we'll have probably a little bit larger group, not as big as we used to do for Academy Days, but we'll have a larger group, I think, here a week from tomorrow through that Friday and that Sabbath. And so we're back in masks because we're going to have guests on campus and parents and other people coming on campus. And so we'll be back in masks next Friday and then into the next week for a while. And we'll let you know how long that will go. And then again, if the numbers stay low, then we'll cycle out to masks are optional. So this is kind of the reality we're going to have until the numbers get low enough that it looks like it's under some level of control. And so these things will be in and out of our lives for the foreseeable future. Thank you very much for putting up with it, for doing it. It's a nuisance and a pain, and we know that, and I'm sorry. I wish we wouldn't have to, but as best we can tell, it helps. Beginning of the year, we were up to 35 people at one time who had tested positive for COVID. Now we're at 0. So we're headed in the right direction, and these things at least help with that. So thank you for doing that. This Sunday is Sunday afternoon, just so to mention this, is we will have a lot of guests on campus. It is the memorial service for Coach Wally Fox. I know a lot of you don't know Coach Fox because he retired several years ago, and so you weren't here while he was on our staff. But he was a deeply loved and respected faculty member here for 43 years. That's why his name is down on the Wellness Center, and he died as a result of COVID. And so his memorial service is this Sunday afternoon, and a lot of people come to campus for that. So that means that for a while on Sunday, we're doing things a little bit differently. In the center campus, Sunday afternoon will be closed. That means you're not hanging out on center campus. The ball fields, playing fields are open, and we'll be doing town trips on Saturday night. But the Wally Fox Center itself, Sunday afternoon, is closed to students unless you want to go to the memorial service. If you want to go to the service at 1 o'clock, you're welcome to do that in the gymnasium, in the new gym. But other than that, that area will be closed. It won't be a hangout place. Do breakfast there normally, do the afternoon meal there normally, but other than that, for that middle of the afternoon part, from about noon on, that area is closed to students while we have a bunch of guests that are on campus. Unless you want to attend the service, you're welcome to do that. So that's this Sunday. And then National Honor Society induction is a little bit later in the day on Sunday, and that is in the church at 5 o'clock, I believe. And you're welcome to attend that also if you're not part of NHS, but if you are part of NHS, either as a new person or an ongoing member from last year, then you need to be there for that. So that's this weekend. I would like to also mention one other thing, and that is we are tracking how often people don't clock in and clock out of work properly. Thank you for helping with that. The numbers are improving. You need to have an ID card, or you can use one of these, a fob or a wrist thing if you want to get one of those and use it. But you have to have a way to check in and check out of work. Here's the way the law works on that. If you work as an employer, we must pay you. We cannot just say to you, well, you didn't clock in or clock out, so therefore we're not going to pay you. We have to pay you when you work, so we will pay you when you work. But legally, we have the right to fire you for not punching in or punching out. In fact, that's what the law says, is no, you can't refrain from paying somebody just because they didn't punch in or punch out, but you can fire them for not punching in or punching out. So, you need to check in, check out, and work properly. That's true for this job and any other job where you're an hourly employee. You have to be able to do that. To do that, you have to have an ID card, and you have to carry it and keep it with you. We will in time be using them in the cafeteria also, I believe. We're working on that to chart meals and all of that, and so this is part of our life, so please take it seriously. Some of you have been written up several times for that. It's going to get to the point where there'll start to be consequences, and you won't like the consequences. So please take it seriously. Thank you for those of you who've been doing that. That really helps a lot. It reduces other people's work when you're checking in and checking out appropriately. So please have an ID card, carry it with you, use it every day. It's important. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Tell me anything. Just say I did, because I remember what day it was. No, you didn't. No. I did. Wait, let me know.